Shit. Black magic. God. Holy Ghost. Lord. Shit. Orgasmic, order more acid, more than 4 tablets, portal door passage, born before mortal war happened. We were lords way before we were poor black men. Now we like Catherine, only having 4 Jacksons. Swore to pure magic, slaughter 4 dragons. Heat like corduroy fabric, door-to-door tactics. Easy like tortoise on boarded floor backspins. Rapping like the man that created it, and I just play with it. Shine radiant, raising it, sunbathing it. Voice tone sharper than razor tip when I aim it at megaliths, make them raise and lift. You can't relate to this, even if you paint a pic of me and you and somehow make the faces switch. I like to babysit, throne made of baby skin, donated by natives that procreate in sin. They gon' need to raise the rim, they gon' need a cage in that gymnasium. I play to win, Will Still Chamberlain. Put the globe on my middle finger and made it spin. They gon' need to raise the rim, they gon' need a cage in that gymnasium. I play to win, Will Still Chamberlain.
Peace, family. Welcome to another episode, Underground Railroad Productions. This is your host, Brother Rich, a.k.a. Black Magic, joined once again by the living legend himself, Professor Griff. Welcome back to the show, brother.
Oh, give thanks. It's always a pleasure to be with Brother Rich on your successful event. Always when you bring that kind of energy together, it's bound to be a success, especially when we talk about metaphysics, man. Definitely, bro.
Indeed, indeed. Once again, shout out to Dr. Valentine, Brother Isaiah, and Brother Panic for coming through the event that recently happened. What was it? What day was that? June 3rd. Yeah, June 3rd. So shout out to those gentlemen. Good to have you back on here, Professor Griff. I see you doing your thing with your YouTube channel. I was watching some episode.
Yeah. Trying to be like Brother Richard, Black Magic 3 Underground Railroad. Who taught me a few things, so yeah.
Before we get started, tell them how they could go to your YouTube channel, my brother.
YouTube channel gives you these customizable kind of URLs. So mine is just simply youtube.com/ the letter C / Serious Mind. So it's / the letter C for consciousness / Serious Minds.
All right. Okay. So with that being said, I'm definitely gonna have Griff info in the description bar. But I want to talk to you, Griff. You've been around this thing we call hip hop for so long, Griff. You've seen the 80s era, the 90s era, the 2000 era. We're now in 2018. It's generally it's something new with social media. I guess people are saying a lot of trolling is going on with the rappers these days, and a lot of different things we're going to get into later. But to start out with, a young brother was 20 years old by the name of, they call him X. His name is X10 Tashion, I think the full name is.
Yeah,
but the brother,
but
the brother affected a lot of people with his music. Very popular rapper, came out with an album within the last six months. It did great, sold great. The brother was shown a lot of love from the people and from other artists as well as far as his artistry. When I heard about the brother dying recently, today actually, the first thing I thought about was an interview with Snoop Dogg. Snoop was on the Breakfast Club, and Snoop was talking about his murder trial in the 90s, and he was saying how he was crying on stage when he used to perform the song "Murder Was the Case," and he used to say that people didn't know it, but he wrote the song before he got charged with murder. So he said after he got he got off the case, he beat the case. He looked at what he was writing. He looked at the people around him that was writing about death. We know Big was writing about death. Pac was writing about death. And Snoop said he realized the power of the pen. So he stopped writing like that. He stopped writing about, the murder was the case and all this other stuff because he felt as though the pen had enormous power to bring things into reality. So I thought about that, and I thought about this young brother and I'm saying, damn, this brother talks about death a lot. The dude, he has that look, you know, the tattoo, the look on his face, you know, with all the tattoos. He talks about being depressed. He talks about dying and already feeling dead. In one interview, he said he already feels dead. So I'm saying, I guess to start out with this interview, Griff, talk to me, you know, your general thoughts about this brother making a transition at 20, and also his subject matter in his art. Not saying that he directly wanted to get shot, but he talked a lot about death. So could you touch on that for me, Professor Griff?
Well, Brother Rich, as we all know, several years ago, there was a group of white people that came out with a documentary film called The Secret. Of course, knowledge and information that they had taken from the Emerald Tablets. And, of course, you know who constructed and put together the Emerald Tablets, black people, in case you didn't know. But inside of The Secret, they often talked about how you can speak things into existence. And Black Dot talked about this in his book, Hip Hop Decoded, and how you can actually speak certain things into existence. And, you know, the universe, Brother Rich, doesn't speak in English. The universe speaks in vibration. Yeah. So you could be on a vibratory frequency, a low-level vibratory frequency, and you could actually speak drama, trauma, death. You could speak it up and speak it into existence, i.e., Tupac, i.e., Biggie. You understand what I'm saying? And Snoop Dogg was absolutely correct. You can speak these things into existence. So if you're constantly talking about murder, death, kill, suicide, homicide all the time, always talking about what you could do with your burner and your heat and your gat and your ratchet, it's like, wow, what you're doing is you're speaking yourself into a certain mindset, and you're speaking your spirit into a certain mindset. So you could actually speak these things into existence. When I read the story of this particular young brother, XXX, he was just basically troubled, obviously, wasn't able to latch on to any, or no one looked at him and said, I'm going to take the young brother under my wing. Obviously, he didn't study the history of hip-hop, and according to what he said he did admire certain artists. They said they would often hear him talking about one of the rock groups, Papa Roach or something. You understand what I'm saying? But when you look at his life, it seemed like he was troubled. It seemed like he was trying to search for his identity. It seemed like he was trying to find himself, trying to find acceptance of not only his peers, but the love that he probably never got from his parents. But when you look at his life is typical, Brother Rich, of the average 20-year-old in America, contemplating suicide, contemplating homicide, trying to find themselves and trying to be something in this society. His life was typical, Brother Rich. Mm-hmm. So when you start talking about him expressing himself through his art, which most of them do, well, who pays attention? I read an article, and part of it said that even before he had any songs out, he was known on the internet, on IG and other places on the internet. I was like, wow, so this is the thing that you have to do in order to get people's attention and draw attention to your music? So it's like, yeah, it's critical to know that you have to rob and steal and cheat and almost beat people to death and do all these kind of things and take all kind of drugs and become this individual in order to make it in life and make it in the music industry. The reason why I say make it in life first, Brother Rich, because that's what I think this young man was trying to do. You know, you dying at 20 years old. You just started to live at 20. Right. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. There's certain things you're just discovering at 20. But anyway, that's my take on it, Brother Rich, as far as looking at his life overall, just a basic picture of this man's life and saying, okay, well, who could have said anything to this young man to get him to stop that particular behavior? Amos Wilson said the first thing that we have to do with young people is control them. Mm-hmm. If you're going to teach them something. Well, we get it when we're in jail, man.
Professor Griff, why does it seem that guidance from the elders is at an all-time low when we look at the youth, and not just the hip-hop community, but when we look at the internet culture in general. We can look at brothers into the knowledge. We can look at hip-hop. We can look at whatever industry that's out there in social media. It seems as though there's no guidance from the elders to the youth. The youth are, they're doing them. They feel like the elders are holding them back or whatever. But why do you think that's the case, Professor Gray?
I think that's the case simply because they don't see the connection to the elders. They don't see a reason. Why should I listen to the elders? I don't even listen to my own mommy and daddy. Why should I listen to this old dude? You understand what I'm saying? The level of respect has been reduced down to, okay, I won't call you out your name. That's it. And as we see with some of the young ones that are out there, they even call some of the elders out of their names. So then when you can have a persona, when you have your own personality, when you have your own IP address, Brother Rich, you can establish a YouTube channel, a fake name, or a pseudonym, or a name that you go by. You can create this alter ego, all right, as this society often teaches. You don't have to be plain Jane. You don't have to be Jack McGillicuddy. You can go online and be triple X so and so and so and so. You can create persona. You can create an alter ego. You could become something that you would never really become in the real world, but in the virtual world, you could become this person. Now, all the stuff that you rap about, you may not have done in your life, but in the real world, you can carry some of these things out. You can actually rap about robbing people and sticking people up at gunpoint, and then you can actually carry those things out, which will give you legitimacy, which will give you authenticity, which validates you in the hood. Wait, what hood? The virtual hood? Because nowadays, these things are going on in the hood, but they're always being filmed and being put on IG or Facebook or YouTube. So now you're legit. You got this alter ego, and now you're about to go and make a name for yourself. Something that you could not be in the real world, you're going to be now on Twitter and SoundCloud and on Instagram, where most of them were given birth, Brother Rich. They were given birth via social media. Because you and I would never know who this kid was, right or wrong.
Right, he came from SoundCloud. I heard that.
Right, so he's a SoundCloud artist. Like I've often asked you about Instagram models. He's a SoundCloud artist. So everyone that's tuned in and their frequency is SoundCloud, then you would know who this cat is. With 200,000, 282,000 followers on SoundCloud, they said. I was like, wow. So I guess that's where he lives. That's his world. SoundCloud is his world. So when I was reading the articles, I didn't read one article that said we're looking for the killer, Brother Rich.
Mm-hmm.
I heard something briefly about 6ix9ine, I believe is his name.
Yeah, Tekashi.
Yeah, other than that, I didn't read anything else. And I read, my wife sent me 6-7 articles, man. And I'm saying to myself, okay, are we going to focus on the fact that, are we going to correct this particular behavior in young people? Are we going to look for the killer? Is there a reward or a 1-800 number, anything set up? Or are we just going to throw the 20-year-olds aside? They just, they cast off. Or they're killing. The average white person will sit back and say, see, they're killing one another. So, I guess we don't have to continue to kill them. Police don't have to continue to kill them. They're killing one another. Some people sitting back and saying, well, that's good for him. He got what he deserved. He rapped about killing and murdering and robbing, and that's what he got. Chickens coming home to roost, so to speak. I say no. I say we need to recognize young people when they're in trouble like that, especially, and protect them from themselves in some cases. Mm-hmm. And offer them whatever kind of guidance and help that they'll accept. I'm saying, Brother Rich, they may go kicking and screaming, but we still got to help them. Right or wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my take, man.
Now, you mentioned Tekashi 6ix9ine. Oh man, the culture, they have a word for it called clout chasing, and we see that within our community too, where if somebody wants to make a name for themselves, they diss Professor Griff because Professor Griff is well known, and if they say Griff is a Illuminati agent, they may get attention. So we see a lot of that in hip hop culture with the young dudes, you know, them dissing each other, getting at each other, chasing clout, trying to be famous, making all of these fake beefs and threats that they're never going to go forward with. And it seems as though this culture, and I know just yesterday, Rich the Kid, I know something happened with another artist, Rich the Kid. He got set up, him and his girlfriend, in a home, and the home was burglarized, and he's in a hospital now. And, you know, everybody's saying Tekashi better watch out. He's going to get himself hurt with everything he's doing. It's almost as if the internet thinks there is, and I'm not saying this is directly connected to X, but he's a part of that generation that is engaged in this behavior where a lot of them feel as though there's no repercussions for their actions. They honestly think, I will never ever meet Griff, so I'm going to talk about Griff, his mama, his papa, this one, that one, so-and-so. And it's just a complete disregard that, you know, there's a real world out there that something might happen to you in the real world. So talk to me about this clout-chasing culture, and why do these people think that, you know, nothing will happen to them in the quote-unquote real world?
Well, brother, let's look at it like this. First of all, the behavior that they're exhibiting on IG, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, it's criminal behavior. I'm not saying what they're doing is criminal in the eyes of what they may think is part of a trend or a fad or a culture. They may think it's cool, but it's absolutely not cool. The FBI, as you well know, brother, which have established as black identity, extremist identity, black extremists, this black identity extremists, which we don't even know whether or not who that is, what that is, what's the guidelines, what color you got to have on, what your name has to start with, what initials your name has to start with, in order for you to fit the bill. But what they're doing, brother Rich, they put it out there, and whatever behavior you're exhibiting, they'll make it fit the bill, and they'll come and lock you down. Black boots to the door, and they'll come lock you down. These young people need to be well aware of that. You understand what I'm saying? They will actually take the YouTube clip, track down the individuals, and they've done this before. Do you remember the Mannequin Challenge?
Right.
Well, there was a group of brothers, I forgot what city they was in. They did the Mannequin Challenge with guns. And the police took the actual, they took the actual video, and they tracked down all those individuals, and they tracked down the guns, and they arrested them. So we have to be very mindful, Brother Rich, of this particular behavior. So when someone wants to disrespect Professor Griff because they're clout chasing, that may be kind of dangerous, because look at it twofold, Rich. One, there may be some zealots out there that will protect Professor Griff. Now, mind you, I don't know some of these people. They may protect Professor Griff, my name and my honor, at all costs. And if they find someone disrespecting Professor Griff, they may go visit them or run upon them. And I know nothing about it. But I end up getting charged with something, Brother Rich. You follow what I'm saying?
Right.
So the clout chasing works both ways. The mere fact that they've borrowed that from hip-hop. Remember back in the day, if you really wanted to get put on, just diss whoever's sitting on the throne at that time. You remember? I believe this was 1990s hip-hop, the way you, quote-unquote, get recognized or put on. But now it's one of those situations where you got cats that are coming in the industry with less talent, trying to clout chase. But the way they're getting caught is a very negative kind of way on social media. But because they know they can get 100,000 likes, they can go do something to get 100,000 likes, then turn around and diss someone like Professor Griff. Now they feel that they're important, thinking that they'll never see me. Well, I'm the kind of dude that'll show up at your house with my crew. I just wanted to throw that out there. Now, back to the program. He says in an article, there's also the air of mystery that X has this ethnically ambiguous given name, Jassi Onfrey. Now this is his name. And complexion, he's of Egyptian, Indian, German, Jamaican, and Italian descent. So he's ambiguous. And this is something that Prince was known for. Sometimes you couldn't tell Prince was a man or a woman. Sometimes when you use certain tones of voice, it's like, oh, okay, just kind of, everybody's going to accept him because he's playing both sides, so to speak. And this is what they said about Prince, not me. But it said in this particular article, he has never revealed his age. Court documents revealed that he's turned 19 earlier this month. He has released 0 projects, 0 music, 0 videos, and until recently, did only one interview, an 80-minute marathon with no jumper. Now, this is an article about him some time ago. Now, here it is a person that did no music, no video, no anything, but he's popular as hell on social media. So when his song does come out, whether he does a collab or whatever he does comes out, instant propels him instantly to the top of the charts because people know him on social media. But it says, but something else has been brewing since the beginning of 2017 after garnishing 700,000 views in his first 8 months online. X No Jumper interview has acclaimed nearly 700,000 additional views in the past month alone. So here he is. He excelled to the top of people's radar just by doing an interview. Not because he's a dope MC, not because he uses metaphors and this kind of thing, not the fact that he has a hypnotic kind of voice, not that he's flipping verbs and nouns. No, none of that. All but because he did an interview in which he kept a beef going with amigos and a few other people. So when you speak those negative things into existence, Brother Rich, yeah, they take on a real kind of complexion. They take on a life of its own. So when I heard the news about him dying, somebody running up on him in a car as he was coming out from buying a motorcycle or looking at some motorcycles, yeah, brother, it's probably following you, targeting you. So right now, Brother Rich, we should start looking at the karmic debt that this individual had to pay. Some people say karma is a bitch, and it is, Brother Rich, because what goes around comes around. Am I correct?
Indeed.
And this information came right back on around the spirit, and the vibration of what he was putting out there came right on back around. And young people should be mindful that when you put this kind of vibration and spirit out, you don't know when it's going to revisit you, man, for real.
What do you think about, some people were upset that Perez Hilton brought up his domestic abuse allegations in kind of a disrespectful way, some people would say. Do you think that's something that, before we tell somebody rest in peace, we have to consider the wrong that they did as well, and that should be mentioned, and we just shouldn't mention the good things because we're hypnotized by music, so we shouldn't just concentrate on the music aspect of a person?
Well, the hypnotic vibration of music can send your mind into a spiral, whether it's an upward spiral or a downward spiral. In his case, it sent him into an inward spiral, and he imploded. So much so that he carried out these negative thoughts and negative things that he was putting in the songs, he carried about in real life, i.e. beating down a pregnant girlfriend. You understand what I'm saying? So when women do that, they say they don't care what the situation was. If you knew you had a drug problem, then get help. If you knew there was other issues going on in your life, you should never take it out on your woman. No matter how mad you and I get, Brother Rich, we can't now turn around and take it out on our wives and girlfriends now, can we? Mm-hmm. So someone that really don't know him or close to him may look at it from the outside in, especially don't know the culture. They look at it and say, well, okay, this was a hoodlum, thug, womanizer, and woman beater. That may be very disrespectful to those of us that knew him. You understand what I'm saying? So Paris Hilton definitely didn't know him, didn't know the set of circumstances. But when you look at it and you start reading articles and get to know who this person was, you can look at it and say, okay, yeah, this is domestic violence, 100%. And someone should speak and deal with it. Just like when R. Kelly's ex-wife came out recently. I mean, you got to look at those kind of situations and saying, wow, this is domestic violence and this is domestic abuse, whether it's verbal, whether it's psychological, or whether it's physical. And then we have to stop and take a good look at the parenting skills and the parenting methodology and technique of this particular gentleman, XXX, and say, well, what happened? What was the relationship between him and his mom, him and his dad, him and the community, him and his homeboys? And then we have to deal with it as such and tell the Paris Hiltons, don't you have enough problems in your neighborhood with your people, with your kind? You understand what I'm saying? Are you the same one that's going to now turn around and give all the other 20-year-olds that's probably doing the same thing to their pregnant girlfriends? Are you going to now provide a way for them and give them help? Come on now, don't start talking about the man and talking about the situation if you're not going to take your now $1 billion that you're sitting on and take some of that money and get some of these young brothers some help. So Paris Hilton, give me a call. My number is 678-557-2919 if you want to put some of that money to good use and help prevent some of these brothers in these domestic violence cases.
Indeed. Now, in terms of social media, Professor Griff, a lot of people were curious as to why Instagram, Facebook continuously allows dead black bodies to be broadcast all over their social media. We see shooting after shooting. We've seen a video today of XXX slumped over in his BMW, and it just seems as though we don't see that in other situations, dead bodies, but for some reason, these dead bodies always appear on social media. So people are wondering, you know, and they'll censor you for, I mean, shit, they censored Red Pill for putting up just straight knowledge sometime, or I've seen brothers get some posts taken down or thrown in Facebook jail or something like that. So is this some type of conspiracy going on, Professor Griff, where we're continuously allowed to see so many dead bodies on Facebook and Instagram, which is owned by the same company? So, you know, but is this
right.
Type of conspiracy here, brother?
Not necessarily conspiracy. No, not a conspiracy. I think this is an actual mind control program, Brother Rich, to constantly keep us with this disease that we have in the hood called hood disease. Constantly keep us on edge. Constantly keep us paranoid. Constantly keep us nervous. Constantly keep us at edge and always our finger on the trigger. Whether we want to turn the gun on ourselves, turn the gun on our wives, girlfriends, family members, turn our guns on the community. But we're always on edge now. This is called hood disease. Or we always hear sirens in the neighborhood. I remember a few times, more than a few times, when I get on the phone with you, I always hear sirens going by. Right. I don't know if you moved. I don't know if you're moving on up. I don't know what takes you. But I'm saying, every single time you and I would talk, there was always sirens in the background. You remember that time, right? So I'm saying, hood disease always keep us in a state of perpetual anger. Always keep us on edge. Always keep us anxious. So the first thing we reach for, so we want to calm those, particularly your nerves down, and we want to calm those things down, we reach for the bottle. We reach for the latest drug. We reach for the pill. We reach for the weed. You understand what I'm saying? And these are the things that medicate us, and this is how we make it through life. So subsequently, morning, noon, and night, we're medicating. Morning and noon and night. Especially when we go to the studio, we want to express ourselves, but we're medicated. And the trauma that happened to us, we're medicating ourselves from, and we're putting that energy and that vibration into the music, and it only speaks to trauma-based victims. So sometimes you'll see people, that's all they listen to. You know why? Because they say he's keeping it a buck, he's keeping it real, and he's speaking to what I've been going through or what I'm going through now. You know what I'm saying? A few things that happened to this particular brother at the age of 6. They said he shoved some clothes on Charlotte glass into a man who believed was threatening his mom. Then he got expelled from middle school for punching somebody in the mouth, I guess, that made fun of his mom. And then he had a complicated relationship with mom, didn't know his dad, and then she kicked him out of the house. So this is a pattern now of just a delinquent kind of behavior, all right, when he was barely a teenager getting put out. Now you're getting put out on the street, and you're taking all that anger out on people on the street that you're robbing, that you're using, and then you end up getting someone pregnant. Then you're taking that anger out on them. Where he should have stayed at the home, and then the issues should have been addressed. But you see, we don't have that set up in the hood. Sometimes we have to deal with it on our own. In most cases, Brother Rich, we get so high that we want to forget our issues and our problems and our troubles. We get so drunk, we just don't, or we get lost in sex. Some people, as of late, have got lost into their music. But you see what's coming out on the other end. Trauma-based music, as Black Dot talks about in Urban Culture Decoded. So this is real life, man. This is him internalizing these things and putting it out there on social media and in his music for people to hear. And, you know, the chickens came home to roost, so to speak.
Indeed.
He said himself he was living the life of a young savage. Mm-hmm. From correctional houses to his grandma's house to people who was robbing to trap houses and this kind of thing. And I heard he had, 5 felonies against him? Then they tacked on 8 more?
Mm.
So already you're looking at 12 felonies, which if they still impose the 3 strikes rule, you out. You go to court. But we don't know what karmic debt came around that he had to pay back. And someone had, someone kind of ran up on him and said, okay, whatever you did in the past, now you got to pay up.
Mm-hmm.
Most of these young brothers, and this is my last statement about that particular question you asked, and most of these brothers, Brother Rich, are musically inclined. Most of them that you see go through this trouble, if you stop and talk to them long enough, you'll see their hidden talent.
Indeed.
But I think his mom took him the wrong route and tried to put him in the choir, and he ended up punching a few people in the face and getting kicked out of the choir. But anyway, go on, Brother Rich.
Wow. Last question, Professor Griff. What, there are a lot of young people watch our program. What would you say to the young brothers and sisters out there that feel as though, we talked earlier about, the lack of guidance from the elders. What would you say to the youth out there that feel as though the elders abandoned them? And when I say abandoned, it could be emotionally, it could be financially. Am I saying it right? Financially? Yeah, financially.
Mm-hmm.
It could be psychologically. They could have gotten molested and their moms or so-and-so knew it and didn't do anything. It could just be in so many ways. And a lot of them feel betrayed and they're rebelling. I think he might have used that word before, that he's rebelling against, culture or whatever like that. So they're kind of angry at the elders, a lot of the youth. So in closing this interview out, talk to them, Professor Griff. Let them know, what would you say to those brothers and sisters?
I think those brothers and sisters need to redirect their anger. Well, if they're angry at the society because society has gotten them in a condition, i.e. the projects, i.e. the hood, i.e. whatever the situation is, dad not in the home, or whatever the situation is, you're taking it out on the wrong individuals. Because from where I'm sitting at 57 years old, what we have put down from these interviews moving backwards, all of the elders that are my age put it down in hip-hop. And we did offer not only study groups, study classes, martial arts groups where people can learn how to defend themselves, feeding the homeless, having youth groups, and we did the best that we could do, Brother Richard, what we was allowed to do and what we had at our fingertips, whether it's on a street organization level or from the government. We could do. Now, Brother Rich, can you define what is this whole idea of elder? Because elder may mean grandma. You know what I'm saying? And grandma barely got by and barely getting by. So there's absolutely nothing she could do with Tay-Tay, who's now in the house wreaking havoc, who she now got to throw out of the house because he has some issues in the street and in school and punching people at the church. So when you say elder, what do you mean?
Well, let's just say it could be an uncle, it could be an aunt, it could be anybody, it could be your pops, your moms, but anybody who pretty much had authority over you when you were young, who they feel as though let them down.
Brother Rich, my mom had some beautiful...
It could even be the teachers that they feel they give a fuck about them in school.
Right. My mom had a beautiful way of having these parenting skills. If the left hook didn't work, she would try the right elbow. If the right elbow didn't work, the sandal, the switch, the fly swatter, the ironing cords, the extension cords, with a pot, a pan, whatever she get her hands on. And you see it like I see it, Brother Rich. Sometimes you travel and you in and out of stores and you seeing how these young black women handle their children, and you just shake your head and you say, wow. Wow. Even with white people, we see how white people handle their children. We shake our head, man. That's a future damn terrorist. That's the future of America. That's the next one's gonna be shooting up a school 10 years from now. And this is what goes on through our minds. So when you say they're rebelling against the elders, I can honestly say, Brother Rich, that was Professor Griff. That was me in my teenage years. I rebelled so much so. That's why when I approached the whole idea of music, when I approached the whole idea of DJing back in the days, when I approached the whole idea of martial arts, especially when I approached the idea of Public Enemy, I approached it with a vengeance, man. Especially martial arts, because I got a chance to punch and kick and get the anger out. But I really wanted to direct it at society, but I wasn't emotionally mature enough and psychologically emotionally mature enough to take it out on society. I took it out on the people around me. You understand what I'm saying? And it's sad, Brother Rich. Not most of us, some of us are walking around with that anger today, even as adults, Brother Rich. And we take it out on individuals. Me and my wife belong to the Decatur boxing gym, Brother Rich. And we're studying different boxers and that kind of thing. And there's a gentleman by the name of Gervonta Davis out of Baltimore. I believe Gervonta Davis now is 14, 15, and 0. Never been beat. His punishment for acting up in school was, guess what, Brother Rich?
What?
You have to serve detention at the boxing gym. But Gervonta Davis ended up beating everybody's ass at the boxing gym, so they said, okay, we got to give him another punishment. That's not going to work. So now Gervonta Davis is in Mayweather's camp, and Gervonta Davis is at the age he's at, I believe he's 20 now, 21, excuse me. And now he's actually getting the quote unquote, I want to say Jegna, but for people that don't understand what that word means, I'm going to have to say mentor. He's getting the mentorship that he needs right now under the guidance of Mayweather and some of the coaches and trainers that Mayweather has around Gervonta Davis. You understand what I'm saying? But until we get these young cats in a controlled environment where we can sit them down and teach them something, they're forever going to wreak havoc. And that's just real, Brother Rich. They're going to take that anger out on, and you know, a lot of times when you're mad, you take the anger out on the person that's close to you, i.e. your girlfriend, your wife, family members, homeboys, or whomever. So now it's a new trend. You can just create internet, social media beef. That make you important. And so if you can sit down like your man Donald Punk does and tweets his anger out over Twitter, some people do it that way. You might find yourself with a domestic terrorism charge if you keep threatening people online. And that's real terroristic threat. It's actual law, Brother Rich. You can get charged with terroristic threats if you threaten somebody over the internet. And this is what they're moving Twitter, IG, Facebook, and YouTube towards. YouTube, social media now has become the virtual police. So they'll flag a couple of your videos, take them down, do whatever. At the same time, they're reporting you. So once you come up on the FBI's radar, oh yeah, man, you're subjecting yourself to all kind of madness that's coming down the pipe. And this is very, very real, unbeknownst to them. They too busy getting their hair dyed and smoking weed and just living their life, man. Trying to live that life, trying to be about that life. The life that they portray in their songs. You understand what I'm saying? Early on, you said someone talked about that gangster life. Well, this is the product of it, Brother Rich. This is the children of the crack era. This is the children of the thug life, of the gangster life. Am I right or wrong? They've grown up now. And now they're 18 and 19. What in your mind back 20 years ago? What was going on 20 years ago that gave birth to this XXX cat? What was going on? This is 2018. 2000, Brother Rich. What songs were out? What artists was out? What was the spirit and the vibration in the music? What was the spirit and the vibration of the food? What were they teaching in school? You understand what I'm saying? What was the preacher preaching about in the pulpit? So he had one upbringing in the home. He had another upbringing on the streets. And then now, Brother Richard, my last comment is he had another upbringing on social media. So what helped him develop was society, was his parents, his friends, and in this case, his enemies. Helped him become the young man that he ultimately became and that ultimately led to his death. That's a hell of a way to go for anybody to go. Malcolm X went that way. Dr. King went out that way being shot. Medgar Evers went out that way. You know, we can name a few people. So we have to understand, Brother Rich, no one wants to go out that way, but karma is a bitch, man. What goes around often comes around. And we need to understand that, man. For real.
Indeed. Well, with that being said, Professor Griff, I want to thank you for coming on the show once again and leave the people with all the info they need to get in touch with you, my brother.
People can reach me directly at 678-557-2919 or just email me at seriousmindsinfo@gmail.com. You can go to my website, www.professorgriff.me, if you want more information. But you can follow me, of course, on Twitter, Professor Griff. You can come check me out on IG, Professor Griff, or you can just go to my YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/C, as in consciousness, /Serious Minds. And as always, I want to thank you, Brother Rich, for having this platform so that we can speak to our people. And hopefully, some people will hear this so we can affect change and we can stop the next young cat from going out the way this young cat went out, man. For real.
Indeed, family. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to another episode, Underground Railroad Productions. Make sure you guys get the DVD of The Gathering of the Masters. It's available now. You could go to my Patreon site to get that. So go to patreon.com/blackmagic363.
Brother Rich.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention something. I don't mean to cut you off. You probably got to give them that site again. But this Saturday, me and Terminator X are getting together to do the history of hip-hop through a revolutionary lens. And these are one of the things that me and Terminator got together to do so we can invite young people to sit in the audience to learn about the very history of the culture, hip-hop, that they're in. A lot of them don't even know the culture.
Right.
So if they knew who were the heroes and who put out what song and who wrote what song, who collabed, who produced what song, maybe they would treat the art form called hip-hop a little bit more sensitive than they do. You understand? So more sacred than they do. Chud Rock is going to be there, Minister Server, Jazz, DJ Nabs, Jason. Oh, and guess what, Brother Rich? My beautiful wife Soleil is going to perform. I got to hear this, see this for myself. But it's Saturday, June 23rd, 4 p.m. at Soul Music. That's at Moods Music, right in Little 5 Points, 1129 Euclid Avenue. For tickets, you can call me 678-557-2919, or just get the tickets at paypal.me/Professor Griff Corporation. Once again, thank you very much, good brother.
Indeed. Make sure you send me that flyer so I can put it up during the interview as well.
Yes, sir. All right.
But yeah, like I said, family, go to the Patreon site, patreon.com/blackmagic363. Check out the latest videos I got on there. Thanks for tuning in, supporting. We're going to see you next week, family. Peace.
Peace.
The DVD is now available. Also, you could also stream it. You can stream it on Patreon. You could go to my Patreon page, patreon.com/blackmagic363, and you can stream it on there. Or if you want a physical hard copy, the DVD also has behind the scenes footage. The DVD is, the DVD is absolutely amazing. It's like a collector's edition at this point. But if you want the DVD, you can send a PayPal payment to my PayPal, and I'll mail it out to you.
Black magic, God, Holy Ghost, Lord, orgasmic, order more acid, more than 4 tablets, portal door passage, born before mortal war happened. We were lords way before we were poor black men. Now we like Catherine, only having 4 Jacksons. Sword of pure magic, slaughter 4 dragons. Heat like corduroy fabric, door-to-door tactics. Easy like tortoise on boarded floor backspins. Rapping like the man that created it, and I just play with it. Shine radiant, raising it, sunbathing it. Voice tone sharper than razor tip. When I aim it at megaliths, make them raise and lift. You can't relate to this, even if you paint a pic of me and you and somehow make the faces switch. I like to babysit, throne made of baby skin, donated by natives that procreate in sin. They gon' need to raise the rim. They gon' need a cage in that gymnasium. I play to win, Will still Chamberlain. Put the globe on my middle finger and made it spin. They gon' need to raise the rim. They gon' need a cage in that gymnasium. I play to win, Will still Chamberlain.